one of the things that we teach in POP, you remember, is that 0 to 5 or 6 year old time. During that time of birth, people around you could have already slipped into the
darkness.
Right. And so when you come up in a particular environment, that environment is already
Dark.
right.
And
Now, was that any choice of yours?
No.
Had you committed an offense against anybody?
No.
Right. But the darkness and the ignorance that surrounds it causes you to feel like you're being victimized because your human spirit wants to thrive. This is how you're wired from your creator, with thrivant energy and properties. And so watch this carefully. And so when you're not thriving, you recognize it internally as something is not right. Even though that's my mama, or even though that's my cousin in them, something about it is not right. And this is going on internally. You could be a child and still be grappling internally with the dynamics and the vicissitudes of the darkness that you find yourself in because of the people that came before you. Yeah. I'm going somewhere now, but I just want to set it up. Watch this. Watch this carefully. And so what then happens is you become okay from survival. Remember survival?
Survival.
You got because each one of us as humans was born with the instinct to survive. Right. Say survive.
Survive.
Yes, you are born with the instinct to survive. Not only are you born with it, but the grass that's on your lawn has it, and the mouse that you're trying to catch, it's got it, and everybody else has got it too. That instinct to survive is given to every living thing. Watch it. Now watch this. So here you are, full of survival instinct, full of desire to be okay and to thrive, but you're in darkness. When that begins to happen, your behavior, it changes, and the behavior that you exhibit causes you to slip to the darkness.
All the boys know what they're talking about.
Well, wait a minute. That was pretty good. Y'all ain't saying nothing, but I tell you what, that was pretty good right there. And I want you to recognize, then you then are also going through the maturation process, meaning that your body is changing. You start out as an infant, and then you get to be a boy or girl, and then you go from that to this place of adolescence, where you seek out other kinds of adventure. Say adventure. Adventure. You seek out other kinds of adventure to satisfy the unctions that you have been naturally born with, that don't really have anything to do with the people you're born around, except for they have colored your movements and your thinking with their own environmental darkness. I don't hear nobody. I don't hear nobody. Now watch this carefully, and this is why this is so critical, and it just is like cyclical, and it has the ability to slide in on anybody. Watch this. When this begins to happen, and because then, Mike, you mess around here with your behavior, which you think is fun. You're having an adventure, say an adventure. But somebody else called it a crime. I'm going to wait for all the amens to die down.
Yeah, that's how it works.
Okay, just think about yourself. I'm talking about you now.
Right.
Okay, now watch this. But now, the word now is a big word. It means ecstatic excitement. Now, say now.
Now.
Yeah, now you have consequences for this behavior that has developed out of the slipping into the darkness. Okay, watch. Now watch. Then the consequence seems too harsh. Now, especially for men and women of color, now here's where the racial aspect of it starts to play a role. Watch this. Oh, this is good. Watch this. See, because before, when you were just having your adventure, you wasn't around nobody except for who you wanted to be around.
Right.
You chose them people to be around. You made a choice. You didn't even realize you made a choice. But you made a choice. But suddenly, watch this, when consequences come, they take you out of the environment that you now have become comfortable with. Whether it was right or wrong is irrelevant at this time, but they pull you out. I want you to stand up, Mike. They pull you out of this environment that you were in. This is how they do you. This is why they do you. They put your hands behind your back. I want you to put your head down, and you got them chains on your feet, and do that little shuffle that you do. When you got, see what I mean? Now, wait a minute. Now this becomes traumatizing. Give Mike a hand right there. I'm not trying to put you on. I'm not trying to send you back home.
You did the first time. You did the word.
This becomes traumatizing. Say traumatizing.
Traumatizing.
It becomes traumatizing, and many of us, because of the race, a lot of times the racial aspect, you just was having some fun. But now, you know, societally, we think, here comes another one of them crazy blacks. You know, he's all messed up. You know, and we gotta, you know, let's do this, let's do that. You know, whatever. Just let me just to help you if you don't get what I mean. Do you know a couple, married couple, man and wife, and their son, all went to jail up in Coon Rapids.
Yeah.
Now look here, them people had so many guns. Wait a minute. Let me just.
It was on the news. It was just
Wait, huh?
explosives.
Wait. Don't confuse the issue with explosives. Because that would be scientifically like Dr. Fives or something. And then we can't, you know, we don't associate the Fives behavior with that type of couple. Watch this. So we can't call them that. So watch this. Let me just tell you. If they found 2 guns at your house, the police would still be there now. It happened a week and a half ago. You don't need to hear what I'm saying.
I hear what you're saying.
So see, wait a minute, they let them people out of jail. If you, say me, if you would have been caught with that arsenal, we would never see you again in life.
That's true.
I'm going to wait for all the amens to die down.
Amen.
Now, the reason why that is because societally now, even as we're developing and we're growing up and we're coming out of our environments where we have developed a level of comfort, we have developed a level of comfort, whether it's right or wrong. I'm not talking about that right now, but it's just a level of comfort. You've seen the dope man. You know, he's right over there. Then you've seen the bull, they over there. So-and-so and them, they over there. So-and-so is over there. You understand these dynamics to the extent that you are growing up in a particular environment, but little do you know that as an adolescent boy or girl, you begin to choose unconsciously. So somebody say unconsciously.
Unconsciously.
Yes. Unconsciously begin to choose your role models. And so your adventure changes from what that was y'all was doing that was fun and games. Now you want some money. I don't hear nobody. Because in your environment, nobody's giving you what you think you need. You want the Nikes, you want the Zuzu and Wham, you want the whatchamajigga, and you can't, so this is how we gonna do it, and you don't really mean no harm, but you're really just a kid, but you mess around and pull a stunt with this adventure, and you are going to, not just are you going to jail, this is your first and second offense, you're going to, I don't hear nobody in this church. Now watch this carefully. I'm just in a mood. Watch this carefully. Then you have this penitentiary experience. I have a document from the Hennepin County Court from Judge Kevin Burke. Anybody ever heard of him?
Yeah.
Judge Kevin Burke, you know, has sat on the bench for a long time. He's winding down, but he's respected by many. He and I have been adversaries for a time, but our relationship developed based on our own maturity and we turned out to work together on some very amazing projects. He wrote a document to the Star Tribune in the op-ed piece of the Star Tribune, and this is what he said. I'm paraphrasing. He said, why are we playing? We send African Americans to jail quicker than we send anybody else. We give them more time for doing less. Let's just be honest about it. Do you know, you would think that somebody would have picked up on that comment and tried to drive it someplace. A legislator. Right. Wait a minute, even a legislator from our own district who we voted in. He can't pick that up and take it nowhere, because if you go to the House or the Senate, especially with the composition it currently has, with information like that saying, look at what he said, they be like, hey, you better hush. Yeah. And if you want that other thing to pass, oh yeah. Come on, Will, come on.
Wrong this year.
Am I making myself clear?
Yeah.
I'm almost done.
Amari is outside.
Okay.
Somebody hit this woman's car, so we next door.
Okay.
The mom intoxicated. She got intoxicated, bagged up, and hit this girl car, and so.
Who?
Who?
Who's guy?
Wow. Woman's car.
Yeah,
So,
okay.
yeah, so we out there, and ladies don't see you with their belligerent.
See what I'm talking about?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The drama.
Okay, watch, I'm almost done. Can you give me 7 more minutes? Yeah. Thank you, my father. Yeah. Watch this. That trauma that you experienced, you wasn't really trying to go to prison. That wasn't the goal. Yet, unbeknownst to you, you had slipped.
In the darkness.
I don't hear nobody. You said, I was slipping into darkness. Huh? He drags it because it took you a while to get there. But now we know where you're at. Wait a minute. There's joy on the other side of that dark mountain, because look here, the dark tunnel, because he is saying in the past tense, I was there, but I'm not there now.
That's right.
But there is residue, and that's, I had to set all of that up to talk about the residue. Say residue.
Residue.
How you doing, son? Yeah, I'm proud of you. All the things you're doing is amazing. Watch this. The residue of slipping into the darkness and having come out on the other side is a victim mentality.
Wow.
A victim mentality. Somebody say a victim.
Victim.
Oh, it's so subtle. It's so subtle. And I have thought often, how do I approach this subject? It's so convoluted and tricky. You almost can't put your hands on it. It's an oxymoron, it's kind of everything but nothing at the same time. But something came up today that caused me to think about it. And I'm just going to mess with it a little bit, and then we're gonna get to something else. Just say a victim.
A victim.
I can't hear you.
A victim.
Yeah, watch this. Now, often when we think of victims, especially for this population, we think of, the people I offended against, I went to the penitentiary as a result of it, right or wrong.
Right.
But that's not, and amen, if we understand who that is, and we're not doing all that stuff, but that's not what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about a victim mentality. A victim mentality that follows you around like Linus on Charlie Brown and them. You know, the one with the stanky?
Cloud.
Cloud of dust. Yeah, a little cloud of dust, and wherever he went, the cloud. Somebody say the cloud. Yeah, the cloud came with him. Mike Fox, leave that girl alone. She got the way. I'm trying to help you now. Watch this. Watch this. Don't slip, Mike. Don't slip. Watch this. See, but a victim mentality, and I really want you to look at this particular definition. It says, read it, son.
A person who is deceived or cheated.
Stop right there. Stop right there. So it's right here saying a person you know then I'm talking about you. Now I could go into the meaning of personhood, and I've done that times before, but a lot of people, because of the trauma, don't really realize what it means to be a
Person.
Therefore, it's easy to create victims when you don't recognize what a
Person
really is in the first place. And we make an assumption that we're humans because that's what everybody else said, but didn't do any individual investigation of what the dynamics of personhood really mean. And the environment that we sometimes came up in didn't promote all of that because a lot of the isms that were in place stuffed out that kind of talk. Oh man, that's so good. It stuffed it out. Watch this. So we're talking about a person who is what?
Deceived.
Ooh, this is good. What the word deceived, what does DE mean?
Takes away.
Good. DE or DI, all in front of any word, mean to divide or split. Watch this. A person who is split, say split,
Split.
or
Cheated.
as by his or her own.
Emotion.
So, okay, so wait a minute now, watch this. What are we so emotional about?
Right.
What we're emotional about is the robbery that took place between the age of 0 and 10, 0 and 5, where all of that darkness slipped up on you with no fault of your own. That is what you're angry about. Somebody might have got you in there.
Come on.
Somebody got you, and it might have been your own people who was dark too. Then now you got some,
Emotions.
huh? Now you got some emotion. Now you got some energy about things, and you don't completely understand why you have all of this energy or these emotions because it happened in the was. The was is the, say it louder.
Past.
Watch this. Watch this. Because it happened in the past and you're disconnected with processing and evaluating the emotional quotient of what happened, the EQ of what happened in the
Past.
Boy. I came up here like one, but I'm 2 or 3 right now. I'm telling you now, watch this. And so in that whole dynamic, since you're separated from the ability to be able to make sense out of all of that, you are operating in
Ignorance.
which is the same word as the word
Darkness.
You didn't want to say that though, because now I'm back where we started at. I was
Slipping in the darkness.
slipping into darkness. Oh, that's good right there. That's good. And then also when all the music would come on, they didn't know how to make it. When they took. Ooh, I don't want to take it. I'll do that next week. Watch this. I'm almost done.
Wow.
By his or her, go ahead, son. Start right here. Go ahead.
By his or her own.
Come on back.
A person who is deceived or cheated, as by his or her own emotions or ignorance,
Right.
by the dishonesty of others, or by some impersonal agency.
I'm running around in this church. Because you know the penitentiary is an impersonal agency. The court is an
Impersonal
agency. The legal system, the structure of the state of Minnesota, when it comes to justice, is a
Impersonal agency.
Now you want because now wait a minute.